Alrighty, so in this video, I'm going to bring you through our PPC keyword research process, essentially how to pick the right keywords for your Google Ads campaign using Google's keyword planner and a couple market research processes that we follow, including the tool called SpyFu. So first things first, before we go into any research keyword-wise, you want to understand the niche that you're marketing, right? So this is a bankruptcy lawyer that we're building a campaign for. So if you didn't know anything about the bankruptcy niche, your first step would be to make sure you're familiarized with the process through which someone files for bankruptcy and hires a lawyer when they're going through bankruptcy. Hopefully you don't have experience with this, but the best way to research this, if you don't, is to just go online and type in, what do bankruptcy attorneys do? What happens when you have to file bankruptcy? What are some of the pain points? So I literally went on Google just to show you how easy it is to find this information. I typed in, what does a bankruptcy attorney do? Now, we're already familiar with this because we only do, we have a division of our company that just serves lawyers. So we're very advanced within this niche. But if you had no understanding of bankruptcy and how that niche worked, you would want to do research first, okay, and understand what are the different types of bankruptcy, what pain points people are encountering when they're going through bankruptcy, so that your ad copy and the keywords you bid on can ultimately cater to that. So very important. If you were to do research, you'd find out that the two most common types of bankruptcies, Chapter 7, Chapter 13. Chapter 7 is typically for people who don't have a regular income when they file, and then Chapter 13 is for people who do have income but still cannot meet their debts. There's a higher likelihood that business owners fall into Chapter 13 because they're more complex asset cases, different pain points. But at the end of the day, people who go through bankruptcy are unable to pay their bills. They're receiving calls from creditors and debt collectors all day. They maybe have bounced checks. They're unsure how to approach the piling up debt, and there's threats of things getting taken away from them that are important to them. So in essence, they hire a bankruptcy lawyer to protect, all of their assets from being taken away. So you got to understand the theory of the niche you're marketing first. Then, we go into the Google Ads interface. So the first step is we go to the ad preview and diagnosis tool. Why do we do that? Well, we want to see in the market that we're marketing, we want to see what's going on. So this is going to be an Arizona campaign for bankruptcy law. So I just typed in Phoenix, Arizona in the ad preview tool right here. And then I typed in bankruptcy lawyer, okay? And I have it set to the device desktop just because it's bigger right here. But what we would do essentially is we'd look at what's showing up locally, just to see what's going on, okay? So we have two local firms showing up here, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lead aggregators. So this is usually a good PPC niche when you see only two firms showing up within the top few, because it shows that this is going to be your easiest way of getting to the top to get leads. So the first thing that we would do is we do research on these keywords, on these URLs to see what's going on. So let's just type in statewidebankruptcy.com. Let's see what's going on there. So type in statewidebankruptcy.com. Boom, look at this. This shows us in the PPC overview tab what their estimated monthly budget is, how many clicks they're getting for that budget, what keywords they're bidding on, okay? They've been doing, ads have been picked up by SpyFu for 7 years, 6 months. So we can start doing analysis here. You can see top competitors. Ultimately, you want to look at what keywords they're bidding on, okay? So it looks like they're bidding on keywords that include the word Arizona, Phoenix, AZ, how to file bankruptcy in Arizona, You can actually see their ads. You can see what they're running. Here to scroll through. You can see what percent of the market these ads are covering. 66.7% means that their ad campaigns are showing up just under 70% of the time for this keyword. It's pretty high impression share for a statewide campaign. So what I like to do is just go into PPC keywords and look at what they're bidding on, right? So look at, let's see, bankruptcy lawyer, Phoenix, Arizona. Sometimes I'll sort it by monthly searches to see what's the highest traffic. You can find some good opportunity here. For example, the keyword Phoenix bankruptcy does not include the word lawyer in it. So therefore, it's going to be less expensive per click. When you get into the attorney and lawyer keywords, look, your cost per click is almost triple than Phoenix bankruptcy. So you might want to do some keywords that don't include the word lawyer based on this data if you're looking to get a low cost per click. And there's a lot of search volume here. The risk is that these are lower intent searches, right? So if you bid on Phoenix bankruptcy, there's a chance that someone's just doing research and not going to call, your law firm in this case. So it's just a creative decision-making process to see what people are bidding on, right? So that you can make a plan that works for you. So this is great. This is how we would repeat this for a handful of competitors in the market using that ad preview tool. Plug their URL in here, see what they're bidding on, see what their ads look like, okay? We'd also just audit the ads here and look at, okay, what are people bidding on? What are people putting in their ads? Because then we have to put that in the back of our minds for our ads and to augment what's already working and have it reflect, your company's unique selling proposition. So that's a lot of the theory, but beyond this, we can dive into the more tactical keyword research process. But I do want to say one thing. What comes first is your goals or the client's goals if you're a marketing agency. So for example, this bankruptcy lawyer signed up with us, and we're not going to push keywords that don't mean anything to that lawyer. So ultimately, it comes down to your goals. This specific lawyer likes to push Chapter 7 cases versus Chapter 13 cases, even though Chapter 13 cases are higher average retainers. For some reason, they just like Chapter 7 cases. They're less cumbersome, and they want us to push Chapter 7 cases versus Chapter 13. But they still want both. They just want to put the emphasis towards Chapter 7. So don't make assumptions here. Don't just study the competition and then make campaigns that are identical to what the competition is doing, because maybe their business is not set up the same way your business is set up. So I hope that makes sense. The next thing we're going to dive into is the specific keyword research process in Google's Keyword Planner. Now that we have an understanding of the competition, the local market, what's being used in the ads, okay, what keywords are being bidded on, and ultimately the goals of whoever is paying for this campaign. So we're going to use this left option here, discover new keywords, versus the right option, which is get search volume and forecast, because with this one, with the option on the right, get search volume and forecast, you have to actually provide a list of keywords, okay, to Google. But what I like to do is just put in a couple keywords and then see what pops up in that local market so that we can get as objective of data as possible. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to type in bankruptcy lawyer. I'm going to type in okay, so I just did a couple town variations, and let's see what we got. So first things first is I like to break down. So these are just the general search volumes by month. Okay, this includes all broad match variations. Then I like to look at by platform where the majority of the traffic's coming from. I could see here that the majority is mobile which is 55.9%. I like to throw tablet into that. So it's really around 60% mobile, since they're both mobile devices, and then around 39.3% desktop. So now don't let this fool you. Sometimes people will think, well, let's just go after mobile then if that's where the majority of the traffic is. Not the case, because sometimes you might get good traffic and a lot of leads from mobile campaigns, but occasionally we've noticed that mobile leads, depending on the niche, can be lower quality or they can be higher quality. So you never want to really exclude desktop or mobile when you're starting out a campaign, so that you can track where the best leads come from within your first 90 days of the campaign. Okay, so this is the breakdown by platforms. And then lastly, we have breakdown by locations. So you can see around 75% of the data, of the searches is coming from Phoenix. Okay, now this is Phoenix's DMA, Designated Marketing Area. Okay, now let me show you how big this is. You always need to question this data. Okay, so check this out. Okay. Literally, it's almost the entire state. This is what's called Phoenix's Designated Marketing Area, or DMA, and it's literally like 9/10 of the state. Down here, this southern area is I believe that takes up the majority of the state, and then we have this little area over here. Okay, so let's go back to Arizona as an entire state and delete these other DMAs just to get raw data. Okay, that includes the whole state. So now we understand this data from a location perspective. Then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and just see like what's popping up based on what we typed in. So we can see the 3 keywords that we provided right here. And then we can also see all of the suggestions based on what is most relevant to these keywords in the Phoenix market. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by average monthly searches. Okay. And I'm going to start looking at how are people searching for a bankruptcy lawyer in Arizona. So what I like to do is, as quickly as possible, get out of the keyword planner so that I cannot have my decisions skewed as to what keywords to go after by Google's interface. This is just my own way of doing things. So what I'll do is I'll download the keyword ideas into a Excel sheet, and it comes out like this. Bottom line is, I delete all these columns. I just keep the top of page, bid, low and high. I keep the average monthly searches. I keep the keyword, and then I just create a sheet out of that, which looks like this. Okay, so bye camera. So what I'll do is I'll keep these 4 columns, okay, and then I'll go through and I'll just start making decisions as to what demand I want to go after, what keywords I want to go after. Since this is a lower budget campaign, you notice I didn't bold the 2 highest traffic keywords. I didn't bold bankruptcy attorney. I didn't bold bankruptcy lawyer. Why? Well, these are the highest traffic terms. They're probably the most competitive. And there's also a chance that someone isn't necessarily looking for a lawyer when they make the search. Maybe they're doing research, right? But when someone throws in a town variation like Phoenix bankruptcy lawyer, okay, or Arizona AZ bankruptcy attorney, or Tempe, bankruptcy attorney, Mesa, Tucson, I get a little bit more confident in the fact that they're looking for a local attorney, or an attorney that can service them locally. So what I like to do is just take some time and think. Look through what is the highest quality traffic for us to go after based on the budget, okay? If this attorney had a $40,000 a month budget, then we definitely would have to go after these keywords. But at a $3,000 a month budget, we don't have to go after these keywords. We can actually just go after 3 keyword minimums to keep it more specific and to go after higher quality demand versus higher quantity. Okay? So the way this data shows me that the way people search for a bankruptcy attorney in Arizona is through town-specific searches, which is very interesting. This is not something you find in every online marketing keyword niche. So people are typing in Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, Tucson, etc. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll just bold all the areas that we want to go after, right? So I didn't bold all of them. I just am showing you the concept. So ultimately, when you're done, you will have bolded, 100 keywords that you want to go after. And then in red, you put keywords that include negative keywords you want to add to your campaign, right? So negative keywords are keywords that you don't want to bid on, like the word cheap, okay? So it looks like cheap is getting a lot of traffic. Low cost, I don't like this. $690 cost bankruptcy attorney. I don't like student loan bankruptcy attorney because our client told us that they didn't want those types of cases. Payment plans, I don't like that keyword. Okay. Pro bono, no bueno. Right? So ultimately, I'm going to go through and read out legal aid we don't like because that shows someone doesn't have any money. So ultimately, once you go through and you find out all the keywords you want to exclude, which takes a lot of attention to detail and time, you're going to come up with a negative keyword list. Okay? So negative keyword list shows you all the keywords you're not willing to spend money on. Free, if someone types in the word free before or after your main keyword, the ad won't show up. So for example, if someone types in the word cheap, Phoenix, bankruptcy lawyer, ad's not going to show up. If someone types in pro bono, bankruptcy attorney Tempe, ad's not going to show up. Dollar amounts under $1,000 we'd want to exclude. Right now, there will be a longer list when the campaign's said like all done, but ultimately, if you have a minimum retainer, like some lawyers have minimum retainers that they'll accept, you don't want to be marketing when people are clearly indicating they don't have the money to spend on your retainer as a lawyer. Okay, so you create a negative keyword list, and then what you do is you actually start breaking. This is what we call our ad group list. Right? So ad groups. You start breaking these keywords into little chunks, right? So we're going to have town-specific keywords, ad groups, right? We're going to have town-specific, which is up here. So Phoenix bankruptcy lawyer, Phoenix bankruptcy attorney. Then we would repeat this. Now you can do law firm, but law firm usually doesn't work as well because we've found that when people, real life human beings search the word lawyer when they're looking to hire a lawyer more than they do law firm. But if you're stretching for traffic, you can go after the law firm keywords or you can throw them into your lawyer ad group. So why did I copy these two? Well, we can literally just change, let's say we wanted to bid on Tempe, right? Tempe, then we literally just go through and change all these. Very simple, right? So you go through, change it to Tempe, change it to Tempe, change it to Tempe, okay, and then change it to Tempe, okay? Now, for a lower traffic keyword like this, 140 searches a month versus Phoenix, which is 390 searches a month, you could experiment with throwing attorney into this ad group as well, right? You could experiment with that. So that's really a judgment call. So I don't want to go too nuts into this, but bottom line is you would repeat this for all the towns that you'd want to target, right? Now you don't need to really couple this with granular location targeting because you're going to be bidding on those town keywords, right? which doesn't matter if someone's located north of the state, they're visiting a family member. They type in Tempe bankruptcy lawyer, they need a bankruptcy lawyer in Tempe. So you want to show up for that search if that's an area you want to target. Then you'd want to have your Chapter 7 bankruptcy keyword phrases, your Chapter 13 bankruptcy keyword phrases. Now, for a lower budget campaign, you could really stop there. You'd end up with maybe, I don't know how many towns we have here. You'd have an Arizona ad group. You'd have 2 Arizona ad groups, 2 Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, Tucson. Mesa is all here. That would get picked up. So you'd probably end up with, let's say, 10 town-specific ad groups. Each of those ad groups requires a minimum of 2 to 3 ads. So right there, you're already at 20 to 30 ads. Right? Am I doing my math right? Yeah, 20 to 30 ads. And then for the Chapter 7, Chapter 13 ad groups, you'll have 2 to 3 there as well. So add another, 4 to 6 ads for those. Scottsdale's a town. So when all is said and done, you'll have quite a few ad groups to start out with. Now, if you notice that your cost per lead is too high, then you could go and get way more creative with the campaign and try to find long tail keyword phrases, using SpyFu. And you can actually go to what some of your competitors are doing and see if they have. This is where you get real creative keywords, is when you kind of sort by monthly searches, and then you go to like more specific keywords like this, like I would bid on file bankruptcy Arizona and see what comes in. Maybe it's a cheaper click. The word lawyer's not in it. It's an early stage search. But if you really wanted to reduce the cost per phone call, this would maybe be a good way to get creative. Going after more specific town names could be a strategy you follow. You could expand your rows here. But the creativity never ends, right? It all depends on what you need in order to make the campaign profitable. That's going to require... that's going to, direct the way that you structure your campaigns to make them successful. So I hope this video was helpful. I brought you through how to do competitor research, when you're doing keyword analysis, how to choose the right keywords, how to break those keywords into ad groups, and how to select some bigger negative keywords that will exclude wasted clicks from people who won't hire you or won't do business with you in the first place. This whole principle, this whole system can be applied to any niche in any, vertical, okay? So take the principles from this video and save yourself thousands of dollars a month. Trust me, you'll be much happier if you follow this process theoretically for your Google Ads campaigns so that you can be more successful, get a lower cost per phone call, and keep this as one of the top sources of leads in your business.